Hello everyone, and I welcome you back to the Informatica Data Integration tutorial lectures. And the topic which we are going to cover today is the joiner transformation. So joiner transformation is basically a transformation in which we are going to join two different sources and save it in one single target. So we are going to have two different data from two different files, and then we're going to join them together based on one single common attribute and store it in at a one single target, or I call it as destination. So this would be the target or the learnings of our today's lecture. So let's begin with the tutorial now. Now the data which I'm going to use today is two files. So I'm having two files, notepad files, or I call it as flat files. Now the very first file contains four columns: employee ID, employee name, salary, and department ID. Now with this same, I'm having one more file called as my department file. Now in this file, I'm going to store the data of department. So, so it says department ID, department name. So parallelly, you can see we are having one file containing the department details and the other file containing the employee details. Right, so we are going to use these two files to do the practical of our today's topic, that is joiner. So the topic name is joiner transformation. So let's begin with the practical. Now I'm having the file, my repository manager, open in front of me, and I'm going to use the folder called as training folder. I've already configured the data, this user, and I'm now going to go to the designer to create my mapping. So this is my designer, right? Let's go to the source. Let me just close all the folders which are pre-opened. This is my training open. I'm just going to clear this source. Yeah, so this is my source analyzer. Now in my training folder, the very first task is to import the sources. So I'll go to the sources and I say import from file. Now here I say all files, and I'm going to type the name of my file, that is emp. So emp.txt is the name of my file. Okay. So and no quotes, next, and finish. This is your source, that is your emp source. Same way I'm going to import the department. So I say sources, import from file, and I'm going to use the department. Both field names, no quotes, next, and finish. So your department is also loaded. One is your EMP and the other is your department. So we are having both of them with us. Now I'm going to import my target. So for that I'll go to target designer. I'll just clear this. Now we know that there are two sources. So we have imported both the files, two source files. Now in case of target, I'm going to import the target. Now in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import a flat file as a target. You can also import one of the source file which you are doing. So I am going to just import the your empty file, or the second option which we can have is we can import the source file, any of the source file which we have done. So either we can use emp or we can use your department file in the form of target. So no quotes, next, and finish. So this is your emp. We do not import both the files because your target will be a single file and your source will be two different files, right? So either you can use your EMP or your department file as a target file. So then since you can have the department target in your target design, now next task is to create the mapping. So I'll just click on mapping and click on create. So I'll give a name to my mapping. So m underscore join. Joiner is the name of my mapping. So this is your mapping name. Now we can create the mapping by importing the drag and source and targets from the folder. So under sources of your training folder, I'm having flat file. Under flat file, I'm having EMP. So this is your EMP. Similarly, I'm having department. So department is there. Right click and you can simply write arrange all. So we'll just arrange them together. Similarly, you can do it for department. Now, why I'm arranging it in one single pattern? Because we require a lot more space to our right hand side for creating the transformations on the target. Now, source is imported, drag and drop to the mapping. Next is to drag and drop your targets. So you have targets and then you have EMP. I am having EMP, right? Okay, now one thing I would like to tell you that two sources, one single target. Target will be this target. Now, when I'm going to store the data in my target, if I look into my sources, how many columns are there together? If I sum up both the sources, in total, how many columns are there? So EMP ID 1, ename 2, salary 3, department ID 1 is 4th, and department name will be 5th. Now, if I look into my target, how many columns are there? There is only 4 columns. So which column is missing here? So the column which is missing here is department name. So I need to create a new column in my target. So for this, what I'll do is I'll go to my target designer back, and on my target, I'll just right click, edit. I'll go to columns and I am going to add a new column here. That is your department name, right? I'll just move this down so that it is in proper sequence, right? So this is you are having, you can apply and click on OK. Now once you make the changes on the target designer on the mapping, it will be reflected back. So you can see department name is there in this target designer, right? So your sources and targets are configured. Now the next task is to bring the transformation. So the transformation which we are going to use here is a joiner transformation. So joiner transformation is available to us in this transformation bar. It's available under the option called as, can I get it? So it will be available under the option called as this, next to your normalizer transformation. So this is your join transformation. Select this and double click here. You get the port of your joiner transformation. Now we are going to configure it. Now before configuring it, we need to drag and drop both these sources into the joiner transformation to get the proper attributes. Now, this I request you all, please look it very carefully. When I'm going to drag and drop the sources to the joiner, see what happens. So I just bring my first source, right? And I bring my second source to the joiner. Yeah. So let's understand this, what happened. Now when I drag and drop my first source into the joiner, it is displayed as detail. So this is your detail source type. So the first source, whatever it would be, by default it will be of the type detail, and the second source which I'm going to pick up and drag it to the transformation, will be of type master, right? So one source will be of detail, other will be of master. So which will act as detail and which will act as master? It is not having any condition. But we prefer that master source should be that source which contains less number of records. I repeat, the master source should be that source which contains the less number of records. But even if you make your source 1 as master, there is no harm in the practical implementation. So how can I make my source 1 as the master and source 2 as the detail? I'll just right click on the transformation, click on edit, go to ports, and whichever source I want to make it master, I'll just click in front of that. So this you can see your first source. I click on apply and click on OK. Okay, so here the condition is empty. So you can see your source 1 is your master and source 2 is the detail. But as I said, the condition says it's an optional condition. It says the source with the less number of records should be your master and the source with the large number of records should be the tail. Why? Because it will help you out to pick up the data from the master and map it to the details. So if there are less number of the records in the master, less number of data will be picked up by the transformation and mapped with the detail. So I'll just re-edit it back to the default. So I say department ID should be our master. Apply, yeah, yes, and okay. Right. So master detail is clear. I hope so. Next is to configure the transformation based on a condition. Now, if I want to join two sources, we know that the common property of joining is to join the two sources based on a common column. So if I look into this data, both the source data, which is my common column? So I believe that in both the transformation, my common column is department ID. So here I'm having department ID and in the first source also I'm having the department ID. So in both the transformations, both the sources, the common column is your department ID. So I'm going to put up the condition here based on which the transformation will join the data. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to condition tab and here I'm going to add a new condition. So I say new condition and automatically my system is going to pick up the default columns. Sometimes it happens that it picks up the first columns of your source data. So for master, department ID, if you look into this, so for this master, department ID is the correct common column, but for detail, the common column will be the department ID, not the employee ID. So I'll just select that department ID. So department ID of master table will be equals to department ID of detail table, right? So this is clear to us. Now I'll click on apply, right? So this is a condition on the basis of which the joining will be done. Now basically if I go to this types of transformation, basically there are 4 types of transformations available to us. That is, one is your normal transformation. The very first one is your normal transformation, right? Second is your master transformation. So types are normal transformation, normal join transformation, right? Now what is a normal join transformation? Normal join transformation is also called as your inner join, right? Normal join is also called as inner join. Now what happens in inner join? In case of inner join, common records from both the tables will be returned. I repeat, common records from both the tables will be returned. Now, if I look into the Second transformation is master join. Right. Now what happens in master join? Master join is also called as your as your right join. Now let's understand one by one. Let's implement one by one. So this is your normal join. How I call it as normal join? Because this is your, when you come back to the condition, this is the condition we are going to mention. And if I go to property tabs, I'm having the option called as join type. So this is the join type. I'm having the 4 types of joins: normal join, master outer join, detail outer join, and full outer join. So for time, right now I'm going to use the normal join. Also, we know that if a table contains null value, which will be the highest priority for that? So in the master table, null is the highest value, and also in the detail table, null is also the highest value, right? Now, rest is fine. We'll not change anything, and we'll click on OK. So this is done. Next is to connect your transformation ports with the target port. So I'll just select all and drag it to the, one second, since I'm having only one department ID, I need to pick up only one department ID from here. Any one I can pick it up, right? Here I'm having department name, so I'll just pick that and drag it to the department name, right? So connections are done. I'll just save it. So it says mapping is valid, right? Now I'll create a workflow for the same. I'll go to workflow and I'll go to workflows, create workflow, give a name to my workflow. So it's join underscore workflow. Okay. I'll go to task, create a session, join underscore session, create. I'll use the workflow or mapping which I just created, m underscore joiner. Okay. And it's done. Bring this joiner here, connect it together with the start. Now I'll configure my joiner by double clicking on it. Go to mappings. Now since I can see there are 2 sources and one single department, I need one single target. I need to configure both the sources and the target. So I go to sources, give the input directory name here. So I'll just pick up the path from my path file. So this is your path. See, Informatica. It's the same path for every user. I'll just change it in the source file directory. Done. So input file name is emp.txt. Go to my second source. Right. Change the source file directory. Paste it. File name is department.txt. Then I go to my targets, configure the target. Output file directory is your TTT files. I give the name to my output file. So it is join, or I say normal join underscore dot sorry, it's normal join dot txt, right? Apply. Okay. Save my mapping, Control S. So it says workflow is valid, and I run the workflow. So this is your normal join. As you can see, the session is succeeded. Let's see the output. Go to your server, see, then your Informatica 10.10.1.0 server, info shared, and then your target files. So you can see normal join is a file here, and what we can understand from here is that this normal join is just like a inner join. It is giving you the output of both the files which are common in nature, right? So the files, like I'm having department also, I'll just show you the department one. So this is your department file, right? So my output was this normal join, right? And this is your EMP file, and this is your department file. So what we can understand from here is that normal join is similar to your inner join, in which you see the common rows from both the files. So in EMP 101, 102, 103, and here in the department we are having 1, 2, 3, that is CSE, EC as your values. So this is your output in case of your normal join. Now one error is coming here. That error is you should get the department name here, but it is giving you the department value. So let's change what mistake we have done here. For that, we'll go to our designer, and okay. So what I did is I connected my department ID with the department name. So this connection is wrong. I need to connect this department name with my department name, right? So just save that. Just go to the target file, delete this file, right? Now I go to my workflow and I re-execute the workflow. So it is just running right now. Succeeded, and we'll go back, look into the normal join. So you can see now it is going to be the department names instead of the value which I got earlier as department ID. So this is about your normal join. Now if I want to work on the outer join or the inner join, I'll prepare one lecture for you and you can just go through that and look into it. Thank you. Have a good day and good night.